Okay, so we got a Klinkhammer today, and I was tying this one on a size 12 Klinkhammer style hook. So this is from Firehole Sticks Outdoors, and you just get your thread started on it. I'm using black 6/0 thread, 6/0, and I work this all the way down to the bend, and I sort of come back. I leave that thread mark there as a spot, like a guide of where I'm going to work to and not work below. And this is EP trigger point fibre, so it's like water resistant. I just tie that in, and I'm going to cut the butts off at quite a steep angle, and what that does is, as I wrap the rest of these butts in, it'll allow them to slowly taper, so it doesn't have a distinct hump from where the material is cut off. I cover all that in like that, and that's starting to build the taper in already. Then you get the post that's sitting up, and you start to do wraps around the post. And for a Klinkhammer, I'm going to work this up reasonably high, just because I want to build a reasonably bushy thorax in there. So I reckon that might be about enough. Then you just slowly work your way back down, tie it off, and now I'm going to work all the way back in to where I stopped the thread. Now I've got moose mane fibres here. You can use anything for this, peccary, you can do a dubbed body here, but I've got some moose mane, so it's different. They're different colours. I've got white, brown and dark brown in there, and I'm just going to slowly, carefully tie them in right down the bottom at the point there, and then I'll just work my thread back up and leave it sitting at the top. Now I'll give it a light coat of hard as nails. You could do UV resin at this point as well if you wanted, just to give it something to tack to and stick to. And then you've got to try and maintain even spacing as you wrap up the body like this. And I've nicked the tip of one of those there, which is great, so that's unraveling because it's broken. And I'll just tighten the wraps up, and I'll go and cut that out in a minute. So these things can happen and do happen. Alright, so I've got them up to where I'm going to start my thorax, and I tie that off, hold the bobbin out of the way with my other fingers and snip. I'm just going to get this rogue moose mane here, and I'm going to cut that off right down close at the bottom. So at this point you could apply any UV resin. You could whip finish there, apply UV resin and finish the fly afterwards once that's all dried, and then come back and start this stage. So I'm going to tie a hackle in. I've got like a ginger hackle, but obviously you can change the colour, do anything you want with it. And I'm just going to measure it so as I sit it up, the actual fibres start to come out as I lay it against the post. So I'll just hold that butt up out of the way, snip it off and tie it in properly now this time that I'm sort of happy with where it's all sitting. Then you just start to wrap in and bind that hackle stem to your post. And do a real proper tie in there. Then let's find them. Peacock herls. Just grab maybe a couple, and I've got 3 here, so just enough to make a sort of decent thorax on the fly. Just going to cut that rogue one out there. Then you work your thread forward, and you'll stop it just behind the eye. And you start to wrap. I like to kind of alternate a little bit either side of that post. And then once you're happy with the coverage, so you've kind of just got a ball of peacock herl there, you're going to tie it off to the front, snip off the excess, and then you'll whip finish nice sort of 3 or 4 turn whip finish, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the head like that. You can apply head cement there as well if you wanted, just to secure it. I won't, just for so I can get through it. Then you take your Klinkhammer, turn it around in the vise like that. You're going to restart your thread on the post. There was a rogue peacock herl there that I've just kind of bound down so you can kind of cover up any little things that don't go the way you want. I line my hackle stem down now, just as a matter of interest and record. I like to have these, for Klinkhammers, I like to have my hackles oversized, like quite a bit oversized, and then you can put sort of more absorbent materials in the body of the fly, so that way they won't get pulled down and sink, you know, with the oversized hackle fibres. Then you can kind of keep wrapping down towards the base of the post, sort of preening as you go, and then tie that off. And I'm sort of, as I tie, I'm putting my thread under the fibres a little bit, just to kind of keep pushing them upward, And I'll cut the tip of the feather off there. Maybe give a final preen with sort of damp fingers just to pull everything right out of the way. And then whip finish carefully, as I said, maintaining, like sort of staying underneath all those fibres and being careful not to trap any. So I pull the little hook of the whip finishing tool away from it. So I'll tie that one off, and the reason I'm pulling that hook of the whip finishing tool away is so as that little loop goes to close, it doesn't trap any fibres or anything in it. Like that. And then cut your thread off. You can get a bodkin now and apply some UV resin or head cement right in there in this wraps, but I'm just going to leave it. And then you can take your scissors, cut your post a little bit shorter. I find, you know, that's sort of a personal thing, how far you want your post, but that's essentially it. That's a Klinkhammer, and it's got the oversized hackle tips on it, hackle fibres. And so this part here sits below the water and the thorax, and that kind of just suspends it like a parachute, and you'll see this and maybe a little impression. So it's sort of a merger across the dry. It's a fantastic fly.